can hold. Okay, so let's do a little bit of practice. What we're going to do here is we have the valence. I could write out the entire electron configuration, but I'm just looking at the valence sublevel, the last sublevel in the electron configuration. So we have an element here whose electron configuration ends with 4p4. Let's see if we can find it on the periodic table based on what we know. So the 4 tells us the energy level, which is just another way of telling us the row. So in other words, this is going to be in row 4. The P tells us the block. Okay, so we're in the P block, which means we're all the way over here in the P block. Okay, and we're somewhere again in the 4th row. The 4 here tells us the number of electrons. So in other words, we're in the P block and we're 4 electrons over. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're dealing with selenium. Second example, 5s2. What I'd like you to do is see if you can find this one on your own right now. So pause the video and try. Okay, so if you paused it and you tried, what you should have seen is 5 tells us the row or the energy level. So here, we're in the S block, which means we're right here, and we're 2 electrons over. So 1, 2, so we're dealing with strontium. Okay, one more example, 4d5. This is a tricky one, so be careful. Try this on your own and then see if you got it right. So pause the video. Okay, so if you paused it, first thing you should have noticed is 4th energy level, right? So theoretically, you're right here. But it's the D block, and D stands for down 1 level, which means that you're actually in the 5th row. Okay, then we know it's the D block, so it's in the middle. Okay, and it's 5 electrons over. So 5th row, D block, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're dealing with Tc or technetium. Okay, all right. Now I showed you this element in a previous video. So, and what I said was there were 2 ways to solve it. So the first easy way to solve it is you count up the electrons. So 2 plus 2 plus 2, which tells us 6 electrons. If we balance that out with protons for a neutral atom, we know the atomic number is 6. That tells us it's carbon. Okay, but let's say we got crazy, and let's say that instead of 6 electrons, let's say that our element has 27 electrons. So in other words, it is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 4s2, and then let's see, that would be 10, 18, 20. So then it is 3d7. Okay, so that's its full electron configuration. If I had to add this all up, it'd take me a little bit to say, okay, 27 electrons. Instead, very quickly, what I can do is recognize that its valence is 3d7. Okay, so that tells me 3rd row, but it's the D sublevel, so I go down 1, right? D is for down 1. Find the D block, right? And count over 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That tells me that I'm dealing with cobalt. So that was faster, just looking at 3d7 and locating it here was faster than saying, okay, let me add up all these electrons, especially if I do my math wrong and I accidentally add it up and I get to 26 or 28 or some other number. Okay, so the best way to do it is to find its location on the periodic table if you know where the blocks are. Okay, so let's do a little bit of practice and then we're done. First practice question. We'll do this together, and then the other ones you can try on your own. So it says, which element has the same S and P valence electrons as chlorine, but is in the 4th energy level? So same S and P as chlorine, but in the 4th energy level. I'm gonna jump back here. Chlorine is right here. It is in the 3rd energy level. We want something that's in the 4th energy level. So in other words, we're gonna drop down 1 row. We're gonna go straight across, and the element that is right below chlorine, meaning it has 2 electrons in the S and 5 electrons in the P, is bromine. So the answer to the first practice question would be bromine. What I'd like you to do now is take a look at these 3 questions and see if you can answer these on your own. Okay, so pause the video and then come back and see if you got them right. Alright, so the first one says, which element has the same S and P as nitrogen but is in the 3rd energy level? So same S and P as nitrogen. Nitrogen is here. It's in the 2nd energy level. So we go down to the 3rd, cut back across. It's the element that's just below it, which would be phosphorus. So that answer would be P for phosphorus. Okay, next question says, which element has 2 electrons in the 4d orbital? Tricky. So 2 electrons in the 4d. Well, first of all, 4 would tell us 4th row, except it's the D block that they want. So we go down 1, right? Again, we're in the D block. So that tells us we go down 1 from the energy level that we think we're at. and then it says 2 electrons. So we go 1, 2, zirconium. Okay, so answer to the third one would be Zr for zirconium. Last question says, which element has half of its 3p orbitals filled? The tricky thing here is you got to think, okay, 3p orbitals. So in other words, p has 3 orbitals, okay? And if they're half filled, that means there's 1 electron in each, because each one can normally hold 2 electrons, right? So what this is saying is you're in the third energy level with 3 electrons in the p, okay? So if we go back, so third energy level, cut across to the p block, and we have 1, 2, 3 electrons filled, so we're dealing with phosphorus. All right, that's our practice. We are done. Make sure you fill out the whisk, and we'll see you tomorrow.